Cool. And I guess that we are live. We should be. So, guys, let us know in the comments if you can hear us and see as well. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is another Loyalty Builders webinar. And today we are going to talk about Product Manager's Guide for Loyalty Program Implementation. And because of that, our guest today is someone you already know. It's Tom Rutkowski, Lead Product Manager at Open Loyalty. Hi, Tom. Great to have you.
Hello, Greg. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Awesome. And this webinar has been in our minds for a while. If you could tell us exactly the reason why we meet here and, what is the reason behind today's show?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we've run the previous webinar about how to gamify your loyalty program, the experience for your customers, right? What are the options out there? And today, this is kind of a follow-up. We assume that you're going with the API first engine route. So with this, we're going to look at how to structure the overall implementation project, what are the activities, and we're going to present to you the framework or the high-level framework on how to do it, right? How to gamify, how to implement the loyalty program. Then why we're doing that is because we see that the programs, loyalty programs, can be implemented seamlessly, but we also see that some projects might encounter some problems. So we're going to show you the framework on how to run the project well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And this is something that has been really interesting for the community. So the implementation part is huge, obviously. And before this webinar, we've run a survey among some of our community members. And the question was very straightforward. It was like, how long does it take to implement technology, to make this loyalty program happen? And usually we got the answers around 6 months. Something like that. So it was more or less half a year. Something that we've seen at Open Loyalty is it's the implementation time of 5 to 15 weeks, and the difference is huge. So actually, customers who come in prepared, they can do it really fast, and then customers who still need time to figure things out, they definitely need some more resources, and the implementation time takes much longer. So that's the reason for the webinar. We are actually going to show the model that will help you come in prepared. So Tom, if you could tell us a bit more about the benefits that are going to be visible through this webinar.
Yeah, sure. So in general, you're going to be equipped with a model, with kind of a framework that will allow you to run loyalty implementation project in a seamless way, right? Then going a little bit more in detail, you will learn how to create the foundation, the business foundation, so the activities and deliverables for this business phase, for defining everything before jumping into the solution. And then you will learn how to translate this business context into technical deliverables. So all the activities needed to create elements and deliverables that will streamline the implementation of a loyalty program.
Perfect. Excellent. So that's the goal for us. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about that. Is there any element you would like to, that pops in your mind, something that we could cover with Tom? And we move on. So before we start going through the model, if you could also tell us a bit more about the principle of the model, what is the characteristics of it like?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I've decided to pick one principle, which will be iterative approach to implementation and feedback. So it's basically something that is much in use in today's world, that we look at something, we try to improve it, then we try to look at how we improved it, and then we gather feedback and we start again, right? So basically, this will not be a one-off activity. Launching the loyalty program, it's how we see it. It's something that you will be constantly improving, right? So it will be a constant, continuous improvement of the loyalty program. So that's why we see it as a journey, right? That you should approach it with an open mind to what you're going to learn along the way, right? An example could be, for example, that for launching the loyalty program, you'll start with pilot MVP, where you will have the initial launch with, it might be a small audience and a small subset of features, right? So it should give you the early learnings, decreasing the risk of huge rollout. For example, you can do it for 100,000 members rather than 5 million members, right? You'll be able to validate the assumptions. You'll be able to do this on the smaller scale. So it will be really beneficial for you to move forward to roll out for the much bigger audience. And since we're covering the API first mechanics and approach, then it also kind of enables you to do it. So to do it gradually, because you can, thanks to the modularity, you can basically pick and choose and then later move forward. And then there would be next phases, which would be full rollout, full launch, and then gathering feedback, going back to your customers with new mechanics, testing and checking how it works and how you can improve and what other engagement mechanics you can use to basically get your goals, right? You want to fulfill your goals, your business goals that you defined.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is huge. And based on the conversations I've had with some of our customers, definitely, going small and having this MVP rollout first allows you to even, check if a loyalty program is something that resonates with your customers, because the most important aspect would be actually to, run the marketing campaign, promote the program, make sure that people enroll. So it's a crucial stage in so many different ways, not only from the implementation point of view, obviously. And I love this iterative approach that you've mentioned and the ability of gradually expanding. So let's say that you start with some basic, even like, points and rewards, but then you can gamify the experience along the way. But in order to do that properly, you definitely need some data and you need some feedback. And so that's absolutely brilliant, what you have suggested here. Cool. So then let's give the audience the big picture of your model. What does it look like?
Yeah, sure. So the first element is establishing business context. So basically building the foundation for the whole project and the whole initiative, right? Then it's the next step is translating business context into technical implementation. And the last element is are the resources for successful implementation. So basically the resources that will glue together the business context and the technical context together, right? So what you need and who you need on board to make it happen.
Awesome. Cool. So, as you can see, these are like the three elements. Feel free to, write which of these elements are, let's say, most challenging for you guys. Okay, so let's move on to the business context. If you could, elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah, sure. So the business context element, so the establishing the business context is where you want to answer the question, why do you want to introduce a loyalty program, right? So what business goals do you want to achieve for your company, for your organization? What will be the value that will bring both for your customers and for your organization, right? So that's very important to have this established, because it will be your main North Star while moving forward, right? With your loyalty program. And to achieve that, you're going to do, you need to do a certain activities that will lead to certain deliverables, right?
Absolutely. I think that here I could jump in with a great example. Some of you might be already familiar with the case study that we've done some time ago with Limango. But here I think that it fits perfectly to what you're talking about, Tom, that they have like a clear why for the program. So basically their goal is to become the top shopping platform for families. And let me share like a direct quote from Verena, product owner at Limango. So as she's saying, like the objective is to be the #1 platform for family shopping. And they want to achieve this through a shopping experience so that using the platform feels like playing. In addition to incentivizing our customers to make purchases, we offer family-oriented activities such as Easter crafts or ideas for rainy day activities. So even from this short quote, you already know like what the goal is. So they obviously want to compete on customer experience, and they want to do that through, the play-like characteristic of the program. So definitely it just tells us right away that it's going to be huge. Like there's going to be a huge emphasis on gamification, and also that it's not only like, it needs to be family oriented. So you don't think transactions necessary, but you go a bit like bigger, So I really love it. It's spot on. It just then makes it so easier, I guess, to understand like, the reason for the program. And
Yeah. I like it also from the perspective that it really shows that this top-bottom approach, where you have like kind of the vision for what you want to achieve, even something that almost is like a organizational vision, like a product vision, like the platform vision, mission elements, and then you just go to the strategy that you're going to want to have a loyalty program, and then you define like these KPIs, assumptions, loyalty tactics, mechanics, and so on. So you have the structure really that guides you throughout.
absolutely. So I can imagine that, it just helps everyone involved with the same clear vision, and then it just makes it easier to communicate around the project. So also it might be obviously like, translated into proper like business KPIs. And here we can talk something like, purchase frequency, average order value. I'm just like putting here only fragments of the case study because obviously I wanted to recommend reading the full version. So you can be sure that we will be sharing links to the case study and also some relevant content throughout the webinar. So yeah, if you are interested in the details, I recommend going to the full case study on our website. But here, for the sake of the webinar, we carry on. So Tom, you've mentioned business context deliverables. So what are those? If you could just guide us through them.
Yeah, sure. So we've chosen key deliverables that we really believe will help you out greatly with running projects successfully. There might be more, of course. But the first one would be general plan with a timeline, right? So as a product person or project person, you basically will be responsible for running the whole thing, right? So you need a general plan with a timeline. So you are able to communicate with your stakeholders, internal stakeholders and external stakeholders like vendors and partners, right? That will help you out throughout the whole journey. Then business case. So business case will be prepared by a loyalty manager or the business owner. So it will contain all the business assumptions, goals, KPIs. So basically also the financial analysis for the loyalty program, all the elements that are necessary to make sure that that you know what value you want to bring to you and to your customers, right? Then it will be legal documentation like terms and conditions. Depending on the industry, there might be different things that you need to figure out there. Then initial customer journeys and prototypes. So basically, you will need to design. As a team, as a loyalty manager, product manager, then product designers, UI, UX designers. You need to design the loyalty tactics and the mechanics on how you want to engage your customers, right? So the best option to do that is to also create a customer journey. and some small simple prototype that you'll be able to communicate to your stakeholders. So for example, the customer journey could be signing up, making a transaction, getting the points, and redeeming the points. So very just a basic example, right? And then it could be, of course, higher, broader in scope, which could include KYC process for like fintech industries and so on, right? So it really depends on the industry, and it's really worth having it all defined, so you know what you're doing, and you can clearly communicate with your stakeholders internally and externally on what you want to achieve. Another benefit for the customer journey is that you'll be able to basically easily analyze everything, and it could also help you out later on improving on the overall experience for your customers, right?
Right. I guess that
Then
this is, I'm sorry, just wanted to clarify that you've mentioned at first that there are clear stages. So let's say you start with a pilot or an MVP and then you go through other stages. So here, as I understand, you might have some initial customer journey only with some key parts of it. And then you can also like refer to it later on when you plan iterations, right? So let's.
yeah, sure. So
Mhm.
basically you can approach it in different ways. You can start with MVP, or you can create a huge journey, like the end goal vision for your loyalty program, and then trim it down to the MVP, to the crucial elements, right? So it's worth. I like to go big. So you can. It's very. It's not that costly to create a vision and a user journey to map it out, because we're not implementing yet. So here you can basically go for it and create the vision and the ambition vision, right? Something ambitious vision, something they can then later test with your customer and see how it works, right?
Okay. Yeah, obviously. That's a cool approach as well.
Yeah. So, but then there are also different journeys, because it's not only your customers that will be participating in the loyalty program, but it's also the loyalty managers, administrators, and customer support. Your customer support, right? So basically, your loyalty managers, they need to be able to configure the logic. So, for example, some admin panel that will be available for them to change the campaigns, to introduce the new mechanics, to test everything, right? Because it's like this loop of loyalty manager. When they create a mechanic, they check for the KPIs, then they see in the report if it worked or not, and then they start again trying to get better results, right? So you want to be able to give them the tools so they can do it independently of your tech team, having like admin portal. Similarly, customer support team, they also should have some kind of admin portal where they can log in and check everything in terms of your customer requests, complaints, and so on. So they're able to check the customer profile, maybe give some points, check the rewards, and so on. So these are the elements that you also need to figure out. So all the stakeholders' touch points are managed and handled, so you can be sure that everything is ready for the launch. Not only this technical side or only the customer side, but also internal, let's say, back office elements of the whole loyalty program.
Absolutely. And this part, that there is this part of making sure that let's say, the whole journey for the loyalty manager or the business owner is easier. That resonated with me really, because still, like, talking to some of our customers, one of the things that they emphasize is that being able to configure achievements or any sort of like like logic yourself, as you've said, independently from the IT team, from developers, it just makes it, first of all, so much easier. Then you can, test out different, let's say, variations of whatever you're doing yourself, and you have real-time access to meaningful information. You collect meaningful feedback, but also it's so much cheaper, because then, if you can do the configuration yourself, it just simply makes it possible. And there are still like companies who need to involve, let's say, developers at each stage, right? If even if they want to make a small amendment, some small change to any part of the customer journey, they still need to, talk to developers and plan it, and then it just makes it so much more time consuming and expensive. So this is huge, and thank you for mentioning that. Obviously the list of deliverables is quite long. What happens if I have, let's say, only 4 of these elements here? What
Yeah.
should I do then?
Yeah, I think don't worry. Basically, you can still move forward. If you have the right roles, knowledge in your company, then you can still go back and do it. If you don't, then remember that there are loyalty consultants, loyalty agencies that will basically help you out with any of those elements, right? So as we discussed on the previous webinar, there are different approaches. You can do everything, let's say, in-house, or you can maybe try to get some help from outside. And it applies here too. So you can basically get an agency that will guide you through these steps, these elements, these deliverables, and they will create it with you. So if you see that maybe you don't have all the knowledge in your organization right now, then everything is manageable. You can just get help from outside and it will be fine.
Sure, cool. There was this moment when you discussed the initial customer journey and the prototypes as deliverables, and this is cool, and it just like correlates directly to the loyalty trends report that we've published recently. And one of the, let's say, or actually the key let's say trend for loyalty in the coming year is gamification. So like the majority of loyalty experts and practitioners, they said that gamification is something they are willing to invest, they are going to invest in the following year. And to my mind, if you have your customer journey figured out, then it actually unlocks this sort of special secret ability where you can gamify specific parts of the user journey to encourage desired actions, right? So suddenly the gamification, it just makes it more easy to gamify the experience that is in line with your business goal, instead of just like throwing some gamified elements into the program. Like, let's go for badges, and then somebody receives a badge, but they don't really know in what way is it really like, relevant. So here, definitely, I would say that having this customer journey figured out is huge, especially for some of you folks who are thinking about gamifying your loyalty experience. So I think that this is definitely something that will help you out, not only with the MVP, but also throughout the iterations. So wherever you are, it's going to be so much easier for you to gamify some of the experiences in a proper way. Cool. Okay, so then we have the second element of your model, Tom. It's about translating the business context to technical implementation. So please tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So it's very, very important element, right? Another very important element to the whole process, because once you have the foundation, the business foundation, then you need to actually translate it into the technical context, technical implementation, right? So for that, let me emphasize that you should have a strong technical team on board. So basically, people that are familiar with APIs, with being able to integrate different components into the system, to have this composable architecture on board, right? So basically, in this element, your technical team will translate the business context into the technical design. When I say technical team, it can be your product team, it can be your architect, tech lead, depending on the organization, right? And let me also say one thing. So basically, you don't have to look at everything here as a sequential process. Like first you do the business analysis, then you move on to the technical analysis, Not necessarily. Feel free to involve your tech team early on, even in the previous element. So this business context element, right? Because they also need to understand what you need to achieve, what will be the customer journeys. They can already start thinking on how to achieve those goals, thinking about the requirements, so functional, non-functional requirements for the whole system, and so on. So it's really worth having them on board, so they're aware of the goals that you want to achieve, and they can basically contribute to the whole process early on, right? So yeah, here remember that in this element you need to have collaboration or you might have collaboration of multiple teams, right? So basically, you might have a checkout team, you might have a marketing team, or the notifications team, or engagement team, and so on. So different teams responsible for different parts of the very existing customer journey. So keep in mind that they might need to collaborate to basically create this end-to-end solution, right? So for that, it's really necessary, essential to have the right artifacts, deliverables here, which would be architecture diagram. So a tech lead architect should create a diagram showcasing how your system will be delivering the overall user journey, customer journey to with the loyalty program, right? Then sequence diagrams going in depth on how certain elements of the system will communicate for the connected user journeys, right? And then just implementation tickets, something that your tech teams will work on to implement everything. We are considering separate webinar to cover this in depth. So let us know if it's something that you would be interested in, and we might cover it in the future.
Absolutely. If you have specific questions about this part, make sure that you let us know, because it's going to be so, helpful for us in order to prepare the next one. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So then in this translating business context to technical implementation element, we have RFI, RFP process. This is a separate buying process when you basically contact vendors with your requirements, technical, functional, non-functional requirements. You have demos and so on, and you are choosing the right vendor that will basically help you out to deliver the experience that you want. And this whole element is about confirming that you have the right technology, right? So that's the main point of this, that you want to confirm that you have everything in place. And another thing, we on the previous webinar we mentioned different approaches. So you can go build in-house, you can build with a solution provider, like a SaaS company, or you can work with a software delivery agency. So, well, right here we assume that you go with a SaaS company, so API engine, right? API first engine. So basically, imagine that if we would assume that you're going to build everything in house, then you basically need to do a separate sub project inside your loyalty project to basically spec out and analyze and design the separate component for just for the loyalty, all those mechanics, right? But here we're kind of assuming that you're outsourcing it to the SaaS vendor, to the SaaS platform, and you don't have to worry about that. You just worry about the taking care of the implementation, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a very good point, that when we go through, let's say, the model that you're suggesting for a smooth implementation, it is still quite complex, because it is about aligning people. It is about making sure that all of these elements are thought through and well planned. So here, if you add this development side where we actually need to develop our own features and figure out, loyalty mechanics, then it's just like it's a totally different story. So clearly, if we think about speed, if we think about how to implement a loyalty program fast, definitely going with this API first mechanics makes so much more sense. So if you go for speed, that's a no-brainer. So you've mentioned the RFP. The cool thing is that we have on our blog a resource that might help you with crafting a proper RFP. So, to all of you who would like to know more about the topic, that's cool because we have something, we have relevant content that I will be sharing in the links. But there is a cool side to it. And there is one tip that you've mentioned, Tom, when we were talking about it, preparing for the webinar. So let's say that you provide, you figured out your customer journey, right? And then you include it in the RFP. So as a pro tip, you've mentioned that you can ask about the product roadmap. So now I understand the concept of going big and having like quite an extensive user journey here. Tom, if you could elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we also discussed the kind of the future-proof keyword, right? So basically, it's kind of tricky to be future-proof because no one knows really what the future will bring, right? We have the loyalty trends report that talks about it a little bit, but how you can ensure or try to ensure that you're future-proof is to also work with your vendor on trying to understand what is their vision for their product, their platform. If they're going to introduce new mechanics, new functionalities, new features. So later, your loyalty team will be able to use this platform to try out the new ideas, new fresh ideas, something that's trending on the market, something that they want to try without the need for additional development or changing the vendor or running additional separate project, right? So it's something that you should also take a look at, which is the product vision, product strategy, and product roadmap of the vendor that you're going with.
Absolutely. So for those of you who are into gamification right now and you are considering, how could I gamify the experience? How could I actually make the non-transactional part of loyalty work better? Well, we actually are also putting a lot of emphasis on gamification in the following year. So check us out. So let's see how both your vision and the product goes together. So that's really cool thing. Okay, so then we have the third element of the model, and this is about human resources. It's about the people who make it happen. So please describe this element, Tom.
Yeah, sure. So basically, that's I'd say the most important element, I might say, because once you have the right people on board, then it's very likely everything will go in the right direction, right? So this element glues the previous elements together, all the activities, all the deliverables, right? So that's what we think is an essential team, right? It can be broader, but that's these are the main roles that we believe are important to a successful loyalty project. So basically, first, product owner, product manager, project manager, depending on the organization, the role might be named differently, but this is the person that will coordinate everything, right? This is the person that will be basically making sure that the timeline is there, that everything goes in the right direction, that all the stakeholders are on board, and yeah, everything goes smoothly. Then there's business owner, loyalty manager. So this is the person that will be responsible for managing this business context, the foundational part of this loyalty program, which financials, KPIs, goals, loyalty tactics, loyalty mechanics, and so on. So very important role that you have to have on board when you want to run a loyalty program. Then product designer, UX, UA designer. And this is the person who will be responsible for the experience part for your customers. So the visuals, the flows, then the overall feeling of the loyalty program within all the touch points, right? Then tech lead developers. So technical people having experience in integrating APIs with composable architecture that will be able to integrate everything to create this technical vision, technical system that will be a platform for your loyalty program to move forward.
Absolutely. Thanks for mentioning the team. Again, I think that it's cool because all of the roles that you've mentioned right now, these are crucial roles when it comes to implementing the program. But as you've said before, the goal, for example, is to make it easier for the loyalty manager or the business owner to go on their own and be independent from the tech teams later on. So if you choose the right tech, you will be, actually your business owner will be able to configure the right achievements, for example, right? Or implement, like, just pick and choose from the available mechanics to create new experiences, to make A/B tests, and to actually make things much easier for them and for the program. And as it usually goes, make it also less expensive for the overall company, right? When it comes to resources, when it comes to time. So this is absolutely crucial. Well, Tom, I think that you've shared a lot of value. Let us know what you think about the webinar so far. We are approaching, the end for this episode. As Tom mentioned, we are planning to create some more. So let us know what would you like to cover next. But when it comes to key takeaways from this piece, what would be the kind of like key messages that you would send out there, Tom?
Yeah, so the first one would be that it's not a one-off, like it's a journey that you're embarking on. So basically, don't treat those activities as something that you just need to do once and then you will discard them. No, it's something that will help you out throughout the whole journey, right? So it's really worth investing this time into that because it will help you out. So keep in mind that it will be iterations and working on feedback. So these activities that you're doing right here will help you out in the future. Then, yeah, another thing is remember that you need to have a business foundation and then being able to translate this business foundation into technical context, technical capabilities, right? So very important, business side and technical side. And they need to work together to make it happen. And the right one is you need to have the right people on board to make a successful implementation, right? When you have the right people, everything else will come in place.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. The cool thing is that it really comes from the experience. So in fact, we've seen customers who are able to deliver the project quickly and without any particular, big challenges. So I would say that this sort of like a step-by-step guide will be really helpful for you to come in prepared, think about it. And yeah, as you've said, Tom, like investing into, let's say, the making sure that everything works from the very beginning, it actually helps with every other iteration, and it just basically sets you for an easy journey and then for success early on. So thank you so much. Cool. So as usual, if you have any further questions, reach out to us. So either type your questions in the comment. We will definitely get back to you with an answer, or shoot us an email. You know where to find us. We're also on LinkedIn. So, if you want to connect, if you have any particular questions about the implementation of loyalty technology, let us know. And also, if you have any ideas for further content that you would like to learn about, make sure that you tell us exactly what you are looking for. So thank you so much. Thanks, Tom, for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us. And see you at the next Loyalty Builders webinar.